Hey everybody. So just taking a look at a couple of these problems in your math practice. This is from number 5, but the ideas are still the same on what we're working on. We're struggling a lot with the problems from 11 and 12. People are just throwing in answers, and for the most part, you guys are getting the right. But remember that um, these are a list, and so if you want to number them for where they occur, first, second, third, and fourth, then you can actually think of the top row as being your x values and your bottom row being your y values. And you're going to put this in the form of y equals mx plus b, where x is the input, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and y is the output that you want. So m is the first thing that you want to find, and that is how much am I increasing or decreasing each time? Well, in this case, when I go from -2 to a -5, I'm going -3, -5 to -8, -3, -8 to -11, that's a -3. And this is what we call a constant change. And that means that this is in a linear equation, which is what this is. That's the form of the linear equation, and so we want it in that form. So we know that m is equal to a -3. So we can say y equals a -3x. And now we need to decide what b is. And b is what we need to add or subtract out here so that we get true value. So if I put 1 in for x, that means I want a -2 as the value of y. If 1 is x, y has to be a -2. So I say a -2 is equal to a -3 times 1. And when we evaluate that, this becomes a -3. Well, a -3 isn't equal to a -2. So what do I need to do? What do I need to add or subtract to a -3 to get a -2? Well, we need to add a +1. Well, now this is a true statement. Was that true for all of them? Well, let's check. So now let's come out here and let's say, well, if I want to use 4, I want to get a -11. So that means a -11 is equal to a -3 times 4 plus 1. Is that a true statement? Well, a -3 times 4, -3 times 4 is a -12. And then if I add 1 to that, that gets me down to a -11. That's a true statement. So there's the answer that we wanted for that. This is how to answer number 11. This is the form that we wanted in. It's not just +1. It's not just a -3x. And sometimes it could be just a -3x, but in this case.
Staff, the butcher paper has been taken out of the student lounge. Whoever grabbed it, take it back to the student lounge, as kids are really working hard on decorating their doors. Thank you.
Guess what time I'm working on this problem? Okay, so that gives you the idea of number 11. Number 12. Sam drives 165 miles in 3 hours. What is his speed? Well, this one you could always ask me, and I would actually always give you the right answer on this. You just need to know that distance is equal to rate, that's your speed, times time. So we know that our distance, is 165, and that's equal to our time, that's 3, and then we want to find our speed, our rate. Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So we divide both sides by 3, and this is in miles. This is in hours, so that's miles per hour. And once we divide that out, that actually ends up being equal to 55 miles per hour. Guys, any of these questions where you're not sure where to start or how to do it, all you have to do is ask. Sitting there and being upset because I'm not helping you, well, that's because you need to ask questions. And so all you have to do is raise your hand, come over to me, send me an email, do something. And then remember, when your bases are the same, both of these are t, you're going to end up, that's the same as t to the 3 plus 9 when we're multiplying with exponents, and the bases are the same, we add the exponents. So this just becomes t to the 12th. Okay? Now, I know we've already gone over this kind of question before, but we're going to do it again because we're not doing very well with this idea of factoring, right? Factoring is what we pull out. So that means we're going to want some number times something inside parentheses, just the way this is set up, right? And in this case, we're taking this 6 and we're multiplying it by each thing inside here. Well, in this case, we're trying to find something that we can pull out on each side of this equal sign. Well, what goes into both 6 and 3? That is correct, 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that leaves me a 2 times x. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that leaves me 1 times y, which is just y. And what's in between those two things? A plus sign. So there's your answer. That's what I'm looking for when it's talking about factoring. Okay? Most of you guys are doing pretty well on some of these others. You could definitely do better on the rounding, but we'll talk about that later. And you're doing pretty well on these. Now, let's talk about the second page. Guys, probability is in a fraction form. It's not a decimal. Do not give me a decimal answer on 23. When I'm asking you questions like this, or I give you a shape, guys, if you don't know, Google it. Don't give me some guess answer. Don't leave it blank. That's crazy. Google it. It's there. You're on a computer. Okay? So think about these things. Don't know how many cups are in a quart or how many quarts are in a cup? Google it. Google it. All right? Don't leave these blank. They're too easy. They're too easy to do. All right? Now, when we're talking about the area, guess where you can find out how to find the area of a rhombus? Yeah, Google it, right? So do me a favor. Quit leaving questions blank. And make sure you're trying to answer these questions. So those are ones I wanted to go over. Thanks for watching this video. And let's get these math practices completed and turned in. Have a good one.